Hi, 6th graders. So we are finally done with our smiley face writing tricks. Hopefully you did the last one today, full circle ending. So I just want to do a quick review of all of them, and then we'll do the page 194. And if you've already sent it to me, great. If not, I will need that by the end of today, if you can. So remember, what are smiley face writing tricks? I've gotten so many emails and even phone calls from your parents saying, what are those? What are these smiley face tricks? Because it is new, it's something new. And so they're just writing tricks that make your teacher smile. They put a smile on your teacher's face. And these will get you a better writing grade in any language arts class that you take. It will impress your teacher next year, especially if you go to Woodcrest or any junior high from here, and you are able to pull these into your writing. So I would save this forever. I'm going to be more aware of it when I write. I really enjoyed these. I just wish that we were in school to do it together and to show each other examples, because you guys have sent me some really good ones. So the magic 3, that's where you have 3 verbs separated by a series of commas that create a poetic rhythm to add support for a point or to tell a story. I gave you guys the example of Livy's when we went to the beach, how she yanked her hand out of mine. She took off her sandals, and she ran as fast as her little chubby 4-year-old legs would take her, right? It's explaining what's going on. It's giving you that rhythm to those verbs. And remember, they're all in the same tense. Those were all past tense. So this is a very important type of sentence. And yeah, it's going to be longer. And it's not going to be he ran, he fell, he cried. I mean, you could, but you want to have phrases to expand. Sometimes short sentences are appropriate, especially for variety, but we should be having complex sentences, compound sentences, complex compound, where we have our independent clauses or phrases and our dependent ones put together. So we want to have variety in our writing. Figurative language we've been doing all year. This is lots of fun. Similes, metaphors, personification, idioms. One of my favorite ones from the Anne Frank book is when she compares to life after the war. Do you guys remember what she compares that to? We talked about it in each class. Something beautiful, something lofty. She compares it to a castle in the sky because it's something that's not quite concrete. She can almost see it, but not quite. It's not really real because she doesn't know if she's going to happen after the war, and we know that she doesn't. She also compares herself to something because she's trapped inside in the annex. She can't go outside. She can't do what she wants to do. You guys might feel this way too. She feels like a bird with their wings clipped. She has the ability to fly and to soar and to do amazing things, but she can't. She's stuck. Maybe you guys feel the same way. So I love those comparisons that she does. I don't remember if they were metaphors or similes, but they were one of those. Just depends if it had like or as in it. Specific details for effect. Those are vivid, specific information to create word pictures in your mind. This one is huge. This is the show and not tell. Don't tell me your face was red because you're embarrassed, or don't tell me you were embarrassed. Explain it. Describe it. Maybe the heat you felt off your cheeks, or you could tell that your cheeks were red, or you were looking down at your shoes, or a hush fell over the crowd because you tripped or you did something. You definitely want to show what you're talking about. You can use sensory details here. What is the character seeing or smelling or tasting or feeling or hearing, without specifically saying they heard the beans fall down the stairs. Well, what did it sound like? And then you can throw in figurative language. It sounded like a herd of elephants coming down the stairs, or it sounded like a hailstorm, right? So then you're combining 2. But you can even combine more than that. So that's where you get very descriptive. I love description. And we don't use words like fun or happy or sad. We use descriptive words. Get out that thesaurus or open your word web app. Number 4, repetition for effect. This definitely gives writing a cadence or a rhythm. You might repeat a symbol. The diary. If I gave you guys that assignment and I said, okay, give me a short passage where you repeat the word my diary, where Anne maybe tells how important it was or how she can't live without it. So it could be a sentence starter, but it can be in the middle of the sentence or the end. And again, that would be a symbol in the book. Number 5, expanded moment. I like how she worded it. You want to make sure your readers don't just run past a very important moment in the writing. When I want you guys to pay attention to something in the Anne Frank book, I'll stop the recording and we'll stop and talk about it. Because if I don't, we might just blow right past figurative language or an example of how she's feeling or a theme or foreshadowing. So, I mean, that's something that I do, but it's not necessarily going to work for everybody. You might not be reading at home and say, wow, this section's really important. I'm going to go back and read it again. So the author needs to do it. They're slowing you down and they're going to explain maybe second by second or play by play. There's an example in our book that I wanted to pull up for you, and hopefully it comes up in my screen. Just give me a second to get there. Let's see. There we go. If you guys remember, this is the section, and I even described it as an expanded moment, when the very first time Peter kisses Anna, she knows it's coming. She's been hoping for it. She describes how he held her. Her left shoulder was against his chest. She's telling us how her heart is feeling, but it hasn't happened yet. Then she sat straight up for 5 minutes. Then we have a time period, and then he takes her head in his hands, and so on and so forth. She even says that it's a little bit awkward. He plays with her hair. So this is dragging on for a good maybe 10 minutes before he actually quickly pecks her on the cheek. So this is definitely an expanded moment. And if I was a teenage girl, that's probably exactly how I would describe my first kiss. So she draws it out because she wants Kitty to feel the anticipation. This is a big deal for her. And, you know, it is in any young person's life, and because she is a writer, that's how she expresses herself, then of course she's going to expand this moment. So I thought that was a really good example. Humor. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed her video. It was kind of funny because she said, okay, now go ahead and write an example. Wait, just kidding, don't do that. Because you can't force humor. Some of the examples you guys sent in, they were all funny, but some of them were more obviously funny, whereas the humor that she's talking about, it's going to kind of sneak in there, and you're going to laugh maybe a few sentences later, okay? Or it might catch you completely by surprise. You have no idea something funny is coming up, and then boom, it hits you. That's more sophisticated humor than, like she said, just telling a potty joke, okay? My little daughter, Livy, thinks that if she just randomly says poop, then it's funny. It's funny, and it is, because she's 4, but that's not the kind of sophistication that we're looking for. You can't just throw words like that in and consider that humor in literary terms. So again, whenever possible, inject a little humor, but keep it respectful, keep it age appropriate, and it isn't something that you want to have a lot of necessarily. Now, if you're writing a comedy, that's different, but you just want a little bit, because a little bit goes a long way. Definitely, and this is a sophisticated thing to do. It is not easy. I tried to think of an example, and it took me a while, but I'm going to share some with you from your classmates. Now, again, nobody had to send them in, but some people sent them in. Okay, this one's from Ben. And I definitely laughed. I laughed out loud when I read it. He says, I was walking around in the lunchroom when a soda can hit me on the back of the head. Good thing it was the soft drink. Ha ha. Hopefully you get that. I don't want to explain it because that ruins the joke. Caitlin sent in another good one. Let's see if it's here. Okay. During my basketball tryouts, my team and I were waiting for our turn, and I stated that I couldn't wait to make a goal. my friends responded saying, I didn't know we were at soccer tryouts. Now again, there's some sarcasm in there too, so figurative language. One of your classmates turned in their short answer to the last Anne Frank test about what's the same and what's different. And it's a serious answer. I was not expecting humor. So he tells me how, we're both locked indoors, we can't go out, food is limited, there's a fear of the outside. And he said, but there is something different. We're not falling in love with a boy. And I was not expecting that at all. I laughed for like a whole minute. So you know who you are. Nobody answered like that. Thought that was funny. All right, so hyphenated modifiers. These are, again, sophisticated. A little bit goes a long way, just like the humor. You're not going to use it in every sentence because then it gets old. Okay, brain loves novelty. That's why there's at least 8 of these. Okay, so you want to mix them up. So it's when you connect two adjectives or adverbs with a hyphen, and you make an original description. It's like you're making your own adjective. You're making up a word almost. He was a less than perfect student. It's almost like you're doing the air quotes thing, which I'm actually doing right now. I can't even say the words air quotes without putting my fingers into air quotes. Both my girls do that probably, because I do that. So it's funny to see my 4-year-old do that. But she's in the sense saying, slowing down and wanting you to focus on the words that she's saying. Something that I thought of was, you better stop that because Mrs. Henderson is giving you you're going to get a detention look. Hopefully that's humorous too, but if there's a specific description that you want to give, you can show that with hyphens. Okay. And then full circle ending, that's when you have an image, a phrase, a symbol, something that begins the story and comes back at the end. Lots of movies do it. It's a very common movie trick to do. It's also common in music. If you go to a full musical or a Broadway show, they're going to have a musical theme that they will start it with and it will end with it because music connects us to the story. So it's going to go through the whole movie, but definitely the beginning and the end to connect it. On the next page, on the question and answer page, we'll talk about which one would be the full circle ending for the Diary of Anne Frank. Okay, so again, these are great things. If you aspire to be a writer, if you've enjoyed doing these, save these, put it in your journal, put it on your wall, because these are great ways to get high marks in writing in any class. All right, so let's take a look at 194. So A is going to be magic 3, B is figurative language, C specific details for effect, D repetition for effect, E expanded moment, F is humor, G is hyphenated modifiers, and H is full circle ending. Now, I'm not crazy about these examples because they're really short. Every other example that we saw in the videos were much longer. Some were paragraphs, so that actually makes this page harder rather than easier, but we'll go with it. If we were in class, we would use your examples, but we're going to deal with what we got. So number 1, Anne had short, slightly curly brown hair and big brown eyes. So they're giving us lots of description. There's no similes or metaphor. It's not figurative language. There's not more than one verb, so it's not magic 3. It's not really repeating anything. It's not expanding anything. It's not an ending. There's no hyphens. Hopefully that one's pretty easy. So this one would be C, specific details for effect. Okay, so this one is C. I don't have a annotator here to be able to write, so you have to pay attention. Number 1 is C. And if you have your paper, I cross that out. Number 2, the diary begins with Anne revealing her thoughts and feelings, and also ends with personal revelations. So this one makes it obvious. It talks about the beginning and the ending. So that's going to be H, the full circle ending. That's exactly what Anne does. She tells us why she's writing, how excited she is to finally have someone in which she can confide, and she's constantly talking about in the diary how she confides to Kitty, what she confides about. She even apologizes sometimes for talking too much. that's the very last thing that we read is about her feelings in the book. Okay, so 2 is H. Number 3, be careful when talking, be careful when walking, and be careful when going past the windows. This could be a rule from the secret annex. And there is repetition. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Which is good because that's definitely what you would want somebody that's going to live there to feel that tenseness. Be careful, always be careful. Walking, talking, eating, using water, lighting candles, be careful. So it's repetition for effect, D. Number 4, Margo was as quiet as a mouse. Hopefully you're all screaming, figurative language, because yes, it is. Okay, a simile, comparison using like or as, figurative language, letter B. Number 5, hopefully it's obvious without us even having to read it. Anne had an I don't care attitude about speaking her mind. Hyphenated modifier, right, has the hyphens. What kind of attitude? An I don't care attitude. There might not be an adjective that means that, so the author wanted to use that instead. Number 6, Mrs. Von Don brought amusement to the diary. What do you guys think that one is? We crossed out a lot. I kind of smirked when I said it. It's humor. It's a little bit of sarcasm, but it is humor. But not the best example. Number 7, Miette brought the food, comma, provided information, comma, and took care of their other needs. So I have 3 verbs, brought, provided, and took. So that's a magic 3 right there. Number 7 is letter A. And number 8, Anne slowly put down her pen and collapsed on the bed. I read it slowly, so it would feel expanded, but that's an expanded moment. And again, not my favorite example. There should be 2 or 3 more sentences to totally drag out this moment, but for a certain reason, whatever's going on in this scene. Like you could drag out the ending scene when they get arrested. I wish that she'd had a chance to put that into words. I'm interested to see how she would have described that, but again, she would have been terrified. Maybe even too terrified to be able to write anything about it. So those are your answers. I'll say them one more time just so you have them. 1 is C, 2 is H, 3 is D, 4 is B, 5 is G, 6 is F, 7 is A, and 8 is E. So we now have finished our blue packets. You should have sent me any of the pages that involved writing. I don't have them from everybody. So feel free, there's a video for everything. I don't think you've done anything, had to have done anything on your own. So just watch the videos. It's okay to skip to the end for the answers, but you get those in so I can give you a grade. And this will be the last one. But again, keep these in mind anytime that you're writing. All right, I look forward to seeing you guys at our Zoom this week. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. Have a great afternoon.